Ever since I can remember, I have always had a love for the paranormal. I was raised in a household that believed in spirits, even though we are Christian. My mother even claimed to have precognition. She would get bad feelings and images of things that would happen. She was almost never wrong. I've strayed here a bit, but I've wanted to provide some insight. I was never taught to be afraid. I have never thought it was real, to be completely honest. That was until my grandmother died. She wasn't just some old lady that we visited begrudgingly. She was my best friend, a mentor, someone that understood. You could go to her with the worst thing you had ever done, and you would leave at peace and with love in your heart. And of course, since she was a wonderful person, she had cancer. Soft tissue cancer. So rare, it took doctors years to diagnose it. It put her through hell. She went through the whole 9 yards. Chemo, radiation, experimental medicine. However, it did nothing to slow the tumors from growing. Finally, she decided to opt for quality over quantity. I lived with her for 2 years and took care of her. It would never amount to all she did for me, but it was something I could do for this angel of a person. I watched the cancer change her from a high-spirited, sharp-witted woman to a bedridden shell of a person. She was in so much pain. She was losing her mind. Dementia ran in her family, and she was showing the signs. Every other conversation was how she was ready to die, ready to see her husband, my grandfather, again. We would watch ghost shows together, daydream about contacting the dead, and she told me that when she died, she would come back and send me signs. The time came, and she got her wish. She died that fall. I was devastated. I was desperately searching for the signs that she had promised, but I got nothing. I was so lost and hard. I didn't know what to do. I'd lay in bed at night, then talk into the darkness of my room. I would obsess over the paranormal. Even downloaded Ouija boards on my phone. I would do EVP sessions. Still, I got nothing. I resigned myself to the thought that there was no life after death. God was a lie. There was no point to it all. It took years to heal. Who knows? Maybe I am still damaged. I only started noticing strange things 2 years after she died. I moved away to a different state. I needed a change. The new place was not isolated or old. It had only 3 previous tenants, all alive and well, as I checked. It started with odd feelings, like someone was there. Voices down the hall in my kids' room. A water bottle was actually thrown across the dining room. I came up with a logical reason for it all. The walls were thin. The bottle could have been sitting on something unbalanced, until one night I was sitting on the couch. It was late. Everyone was asleep. I felt like someone was staring at me, glaring even, like they were standing in the hallway, ready to run at me. There was a cold in the air that sank into my chest. I was absolutely terrified. I did not understand why. It lasted for what seemed like hours, but was actually only a few minutes. I went straight to bed. A few weeks later, we moved to a different city to an apartment. It was from the 80s and not very well kept up. The owner lost it in a card game, we were told from the other tenants. So, when I heard odd noises, I thought nothing of it. I would feel like someone walked into a room, only to look up and see no one. I sat on the couch in the living room and saw the recliner just start moving. No one even close to it. No pets to brush up against it. There would be small pops and cracks like someone dropping something metal. I would never go to investigate. It was like it wanted to be known. The more I ignored it, the worse it got. In the middle of watching a movie, I felt the couch sink ever so slightly. Then a tingly cold feeling slowly moved over my hand, up to my arm. On everything I own, it felt like a hand brushing up my arm. It felt lonely. It had a strange feeling, like it was just a person longing for human interaction. I said out loud, "I know you're here. As long as you leave me and my kids alone, I'm okay with you being here." Something in here told me that it understood. I cannot explain how or why. I just felt it in my heart. The activity had almost completely stopped after that. It was months until I actually saw it. I was lying on the couch looking at my phone, when all of a sudden I felt it there. I looked up, and to the left I saw a white shadowy figure in the shape of a person. It walked from my left to the right in an odd way, like it was taking large steps. I jumped up and ran out of the apartment. Before you start to think about it just being my eyes staring at my phone, their shape was not rectangular like my phone. It was higher up than I was holding my phone. It was humanoid shape. It took hours and a lot of cigarettes to work up the courage to return inside. I closed the door behind me and spoke to it again. "You have to leave now. You aren't welcome here anymore. I don't want you here." I was so scared I just wanted it to leave. Whoever and whatever it was, I didn't care anymore. It made my anxiety so much worse. It seemed to work, and a year later we moved again. This apartment was warm and homely. I felt good there. It had the aura of a welcoming home. It was a year before I felt anything, but God help me it did. It happened again. It started with strange feelings like someone was there staring at me. Drawers opening by themselves, cold spots in old places. My dog would bark at random places in the apartment. It was only once, but she even growled and barked. She is an English bulldog and very sweet and quiet, like her breed usually is. It was the first and only time she growled. I feel like I'm either being followed by the same spirit, or I am attracting them somehow. I have theorized maybe my constant videos and movies and TV shows about ghosts and demons may have opened the communications. Maybe I have invited them. It is scary and exciting at the same time. I want to know more, but I'm afraid of the consequences. I'd never lived in the best areas. My parents never had much money, and I was a single child, but we grew up fine. There was one place we lived in that I affectionately called Roman Hill, as it was very close to an old Roman fort, and as it was high on the hill, me and my friends just called it so. So, one day, I'm getting back home from school. I arrive a lot earlier than my parents do, so it would be customary for me to open the door, let myself in, and start cooking myself some pasta or something while watching cartoons. The usual day. Today was probably gonna be like every other day, or so I thought. I got to the apartment building and used the key to open the main door. I checked the mail and started walking through, preparing to go up the stairs, as our building wasn't fancy enough to have an elevator. I had to ascend 6 flights of stairs as we lived on the 3rd floor. On my way up, as normal, do I go past the 1st floor doors. One of these doors houses a small, scraggly, strange woman. She's the kind of lady that you'd see with pot in hand asking for money on the side of a road, or perhaps saying about the end of the world. She was a little nutty, to say the least. She always told me that good things were going to happen to me and gave me a smile and called me dearie. But to other people, she could be a right old loon. As I was ascending the stairs, do I hear her door start to open just as I'm approaching it. So I make sure to look behind me and wish her a good day as I make my way up. She rattles out of her door, closes and locks it, and I wish her a good day and offer her a friendly smile. This time she doesn't even acknowledge me. She just walks out of her house and goes down the stairs. I know that she's a bit off, so I ignore it, don't dwell on it too often, and go up the stairs. My routine is like any other day, and I don't think about this for a while. Perhaps 3 months later, the same thing happens again. I'm coming home from school, but this time she's on the stairs, coming down them very slowly, with this vacant look on her face. I say hello to her, but she completely ignores me. I haven't seen her since the last incident, and wonder if perhaps she's getting to the end of her life with her not responding and all. But simply carry on with my day and forget about it. Not 2 days later though, coming back from school, it being Friday and me being overjoyed for the weekend, me and 2 of my friends, as they were sleeping over, notice a moving van in the car park. We go over and snoop around to see who's moving in. It's a young couple with a small child. Being teenage girls, we start a conversation and dote on their adorable little boy. The mother tells us that they're moving into an apartment on the 1st floor, and that it would be great to see us sometime, and asked if I'd ever looked after children before. We get into this whole conversation about babysitting, and basically I say that I'd be happy to do a trial run with them in future. I let them know the house I live at and to give me a knock if they ever need my services. I walk up the stairs feeling very giddy, and my friends are telling me how lucky I am that I'll be able to look after that cute little baby boy and potentially earn some pocket money, which to a 15-year-old girl is a triple win. I get upstairs, me and my friends hang out, and that's when my mum arrives home a few hours later. I tell her about my day, and me and my friends excitedly tell her of the possibility of work, about the people moving in. She tells me that that's absolutely fantastic, but then makes an offhand comment about how sad it was that our neighbor passed away. I ask her which neighbor, and she tells me it was the lady who not 2 days ago didn't say anything to me. I ask her, when was this? She told me the following. The lady who had been living there had been a friend of the man who owned the block. However, she had not paid rent in several months, hadn't answered any of her posts, and the stack of mail was just growing bigger and bigger, to the point it would no longer fit in her post box. So, the on-site manager got in contact with the police. He opened the door up for them, and they went inside. They found the decayed body of the neighbor. She had been dead for nearly 4 months, they estimated. They had to completely gut the apartment, and when it was fully finished, was it ready for new people to move in. i.e., the people who I'd met downstairs. I gave her a scoff and told her that it was absolute nonsense, as not only had I seen her 3 months ago, but that I saw her 2 days ago going down the stairs. I said this with such confidence, with almost a mocking tone in my voice, trying to bravado myself to impress my friends. But my mother gave me a concerned look. Honestly, darling, she's been dead for quite a while. I'm surprised you didn't smell it when you went downstairs when they were gutting the place. The thing is, I don't remember them gutting the place at all. Surely I would have seen it. Am I right? The family moved in, and they were nice. I never saw the lady again, whether it was her ghost or something else. But I'm glad, and I hope that whatever realm or plane she's in now, she's in a better and more comfortable place.